Morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. I'm Pastor John Woodin, and this is a ministry of Hollywood Faith Christian Center in Hollywood, Florida, on the Gold Coast of Florida, on the Atlantic coast. This morning, we're going to deal with the power of unbelief. Power of unbelief is very real. In Matthew 13, it says, "But Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor, except in his own country and in his own house. Now he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief." Now, this is speaking of Nazareth. When they begin to question, who is this? Isn't this the carpenter's son? Don't we know his brothers and sisters? Isn't this the same kid we grew up with? What is this? And he wasn't accepted there, and he could do because of their unbelief. I want to tell you, if you don't believe something can happen, it won't. Then Jesus answered and said in Matthew 17, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him here to me." And then Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. And the disciples said to him privately, "Why could we not cast it out?" And he said, "Because of your unbelief." Wow. For the doubts in their minds. "For assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing shall be impossible for you." Wow, that is just such a powerful statement. Nothing will be impossible for you if you just believe. And your mountains are not necessarily physical mountains, but they are your problems and your issues and the things that confront you. And in Mark chapter 4, and I love this, the imagery here. "And great windstorm arose, and waves beat on the boat, so that they were already filling. But he was in the stern." Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. "And they awoke him and said to him, 'Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?'" Now, first of all, I wonder how they picked the person who was going to have to go wake up Jesus and tell him that we're perishing. But somebody went back there and said, shook him, "Jesus, wake up. Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And of course, what he does is then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still," and everything went quiet. Wow. And he said, why are you so fearful? Why is it that you have no faith? Contrast that with Romans chapter 4. Romans 4 is where Paul speaks of Abraham, the faith of Abraham, in the presence of him who believed God and gives life to the dead and calls those things which do not exist as though they did. And then he talks about how Abraham, because God said he'd be the father of many nations, Abraham believed even though his own body was dead, 100 years old, his wife is 90, he believed that God was able to do what he had promised, and what he had promised, he was able to perform. Wow. And it was accounted to him for righteousness. I think we want to be more like Abraham and less like the disciples out on the sea. God bless you guys. See you again next time.